Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
I don't care. Any time is tough. Head of the class, head of the pack, heavenly rap. Better to master than be mastered by petty cash. Anything you attach to's a heavy bag. Better if it's tattooed, it's really that. I could never go the ways of the masses. Ay, couldn't be a slave to the lashes. Rather die than a life full of average. Got a King James and it came with a casket. Grave digger.
Welcome, everyone, to another spectacular, fantabulous, absolutely awesome episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond, and today on Thrive Loud, oh man, award-winning YouTube growth strategist and high-performance coach for the nation's top companies and business influencers. He is considered to be a leading expert on YouTube, videos, and most importantly, YouTube for business and revenue generation. I like this guy. He's about taking content and making money. Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you, fittingly, Owen Video. Owen, welcome to Thrive Loud.
I've actually never felt more welcome on a podcast, sir. So I appreciate you bringing the fire, bringing it every day. These listeners are in for a treat.
I'm excited. I'm excited for a lot of reasons because I got some legitimate questions around the work that you do that not only are just going to be explaining all the greatness and the things that you're around and things that you're about, but I love to give a little rewind here, Owen. I do not want to go all the way back to the womb. I kind of want to understand how what you're doing now, how this all became your fantabulous, absolutely awesome gig.
Yeah, man, let me tell you something. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, right? That's where I was born and raised and didn't have a lot of money growing up. One year for Christmas, we had two big presents under the tree. One was a video camera and one was a Nintendo. Brand new Nintendo, first time ever to hit, America. And I played with the Nintendo for about 15 minutes. I played with the video camera for about 15 years.
Wow.
And I always had it in my hand. As a kid, I was always doing comedy sketches and mock, concerts with the keyboard music for my family and recording them. And then I got into high school and I was kind of like Adam Goldberg, if you've ever seen that show. I was making my own kind of like short films. And so I always had a camera in my hand. When YouTube came out, that's when, I started to really pay attention. And I was like, hang on a second, like I could really go somewhere with this new platform. And I had all of these ideas to create TV shows and to create viral videos, largely all of which we've accomplished just over time. We've got that, did that. And we've built a thriving business where we teach business owners and companies how to launch YouTube channels that generate views. Yes, people want to watch your videos, but they also generate customers. They bring people to your store. They bring them to your website where, they become followers, fans, and customers. So that's what's unique about us is that we've taken this skill, this thing I've done my whole life. And it's like, one day I recognize it's like, man, we could get the small businesses of America. We could really get them into the mainstream without like having to pay for TV and having to pay for radio. Like all the things that I grew up on and knew how to do, right? So that's what we do now, and we just love working with all sorts of businesses, a lot of real estate related companies and various other brands and corporations that we consult with. But like our whole thing is making YouTube videos and making shorts, right? TikToks as well, like short stuff that goes viral. People love it.
Oh, and we had a long time ago, we had a bunch of YouTubers on. We had Jacqueline Dallas on. We had MKB on. We had MKB. We had all these guys, and their stories of how those were unboxers when they started out, and they would feature a certain product. Tell me, when it comes to this content, we have a cross dissection of real businesses understanding the power of video, entrepreneurs understanding they can make their own brand or do their trainings or whatever it might be. When you formulate this together, are you thinking, is there a difference, if you would, between that big business that needs to think small or the small person that can think big?
Yeah, we break YouTube down into two big categories, right? You're a creator first, right? A creator first is the guy, who's got purple hair, purple dreadlocks, and he bakes brownies and throws them off of bridges, and the kids love it. They go through drive-thrus and they splatter ice cream all over their faces, right? These are creators, and they're getting millions and millions of views for doing these silly videos. Mr. Beast, I think, is like the most popular. The guy who runs Mr. Beast Strategy, that's my mentor. Okay, that's the guy that taught me YouTube. And I do YouTube for that second group of people, and these are companies, right? So you've got creators and you've got companies. And companies are people like us, right? Like, we're entrepreneurs, we have businesses. Some of us are coaches, some of us are real estate agents. Maybe you own a few restaurants in town, right? And you're wanting to start a YouTube channel because you want to grow your brand and you want to have a business first focus, right? Like, that's the YouTube that we work in. And so your strategy is going to be a little bit different. The way that you present yourself is going to be a little bit different. And in a lot of cases, right, like, your view potential is going to be smaller, right? There are fewer people interested in buying a house in Dallas, right? There are fewer people interested in that topic than there are kids who will watch buckets of paint being thrown off a bridge, right? Yeah. So we start to develop a strategy around how do you present yourself well, right? In videos that, yes, some of them are training videos. Some of them are YouTube informational videos, right? Some of them might even be live streams or shorts. How do we do that for your company using your authentic voice and maximize the potential on YouTube? So that's the strategy that we put into play. That's what we've been running for the last 13 years, right? And it changes with the times. You mentioned unboxings. Unboxings are great. Now, well, they were great what? When Amazon was big, right? Everyone got these boxes, and it's like, oh, show me, like, I want the Amazon experience virtually. That burned out after about a year and a half, maybe. It's what we call a trend. And so as a business owner, you're going to ask yourself, like, this is a trend that's happening. How do I want to take advantage of this? Like, if it was an unboxing, let's go back a couple years, but like, let's say it was unboxing. It's like, how do I take this unboxing and make it valuable for my company right now today? And sometimes the answer is, I can't. Like, this is not for me. Like, another trend that was recent was like the dancing and the pointing, right? Like, it's like you're on TikTok and it's like, I'm dancing, and it's like, first rule about doing business with me. And you guys can't see me on the podcast. I'm over here dancing like a fool.
But on the video, you all can.
You get what I mean? Like, the dancing and the pointing. Oh, yeah. Like, we decided that this would be a trend we would not participate in. It was just too simple and too, like, peasant, and we're just like, we're not going to, we want our companies to have a more sophisticated approach. So there are trends we take advantage of, and then there are trends that we, like, acknowledge and let them pass, right? And that's kind of what we do, is we help our clients to have a gut for what will help their brand excel and make great videos. Make videos that shouldn't be boring. They should be fun.
I was going to get to this, and I'm going to bring it up now at this point in the show, because you're right about content itself. A lot of companies can be pretty boring with their content. And I'll even bring it up to corporate. Trust me, I work in big companies, and they're creating content, and man, do they have trouble making the stuff that they do exciting.
Yes.
You mentioned something really important about coming out with your own voice and being more authentic. Why does it seem that the minute that the red light goes on or something has to be recorded, some people have trouble tapping into that authenticity? Tell me about that from what you've seen, because some of you are as authentic as it is. By the way, listeners or viewers, this is how he is on every one of his videos. The exact same way. His energy, his pace, his everything. Tell me about how you help people understand that they can make that content more engaging just by being more engaging.
Yeah, well, what you just said are two different things, right? Or we at least look at them two different ways. Okay, number one is how you appear on camera and how you're able to present yourself on camera. And that's what I do. That's what my training is in. My training is in journalism and the news. And so what I do is I help my clients have an online camera presence that is at the same level and the same quality as the country's global elites. The same level and the same quality as the best professions, the best celebrities. That's what I went to school for. That's what I got my degree in, right? And I teach that to my clients so that you can be better online. Now, the second part of that is pressing the red button more than you're pressing it now, right? Pressing the record button more often. I find like this is the biggest, like, hurdle. We're just working with an HVAC company in Ohio, and HVAC, air conditioning, heating. They've got this wonderful product, and they have multiple locations throughout the Midwest. Getting the owner to actually record the video without going through this process of, oh, I can't say that. What will my competitor think? Or no, it's not just right yet. I have to get this wording just right? Like that you overcome that with time. Yeah. And so that brings up the second part of what needs to happen in the process is you have to have a good system in place, like a Henry Ford assembly line for getting videos done so that things move according to a thing, right? If you're doing this thing where you're like, I'll film it when I write it, guess what? You'll never write it. And how about like, you'll write it when you sit down to write it? Well, you'll never sit down to write it. Oftentimes I'm writing my videos into like a voice message that my assistant gets. And I'm like, I'm probably walking through soccer practice with my kid, right? My kid's out there playing soccer and I'm watching, but I'm like, oh, hey, Ryan, for that video we're doing next week, like I was thinking we could do this and this and this and, whatever the case might be. I'm not actually sitting down to write a video. I'm actually just living my life and putting it on a voice transcript, right? So when you adopt a system, a Henry Ford like system that is like, I got to get a video done once a week, then you get the repetition, and every week you get better. One of my sons joined a parkour league. Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. We asked him what sport he wanted. He says parkour, and we loved it. He learned how to backflip, he learned how to front flip. Like I really loved it. So I don't, but there's no competitions. There's no game at the end of the week. And so my son's like, it's like, hey, we're going to go to parkour. And he's like, what for? Like, I already know how to do backflips. And he's right. It's like, we need a competition for you to go. So when you're doing a video every week, right, at the same time, and some of our clients say it's like every week, every other week, we develop one for you. But if you're doing it every week, you're pressing that button every week, and every week you have a chance to get better and to do it better than the time you did before. And I'll tell you, that's what works on YouTube. It's not about one video, although most of the time big success comes from one big video. But it's not just one big video. It's the family of videos that you have. It's the binge watching. So you one video blew up, but you already had 10 other videos that they could watch afterwards. And we have a couple of stories where so it's like, don't worry about how many views it got. Like, worry about pressing the button once a week for 90 days, and then let's talk about what results that got.
I want to talk about trends, as you were mentioning this before, and trends go in and out, but there is one trend that has been consistent and something that I want to get your take on. Brevity. Our attention spans and the videos continue to get shorter. And working with businesses, sometimes getting that short message in can be a little challenging. Talk about what you've been seeing in overarching, like you've been in this for a long time. Videos used to be a little bit longer. Now they're like TikTok-evites or they're much more concise and to the point. I want to get your take on that aspect of trending going on in videos.
Yeah, what a great observation. And I'm going to try to flip it a little bit, but not in the way that a marketer would. I'm actually going to just another side of the coin that might be valuable. But I really have to, I appreciate the way you're asking these questions, because we do have brand clients, and getting a brand client to do content that's not whitewashed and wrong word, chlorinated and just like disinfected. It's just sterile content. Getting them to do content that's fun and lively and vibrant, like that's a mindset shift. And I really believe in young leadership that influences like more entrenched dogma. And so I think that's a really powerful tool, is like these millennial leaders that are inside of these companies, like they are our biggest advocates inside the company. And watching YouTube videos, watching what other creators are doing can really be a wealth of information. It's like, well, I don't watch YouTube. Yeah, you do. You just see it on Facebook, or you see it on TikTok, right? Or you see it on Google, right? Like, we know that you're watching. We know that everybody's watching YouTube, because it's neck and neck with TikTok in terms of minutes watched per day, right? Now, those minutes are different, okay? So YouTube is traditionally, it's a long form platform, right? So over a minute. But when we say over a minute, we're really talking like sitcoms, like most videos on YouTube are somewhere between like 5 and 20 minutes, right? Like this is kind of where the bulk of YouTube lies, 5 and 20 minutes. We call that long form content. Now, when you get a viewer watching you for 5 minutes, right, this is why YouTube is so powerful. You compare that to shorts and reels and TikToks, which we put them all into the same category. Vertical shorts, right? They're under a minute. They're fast paced. These are where they're getting you, and they're getting you as 1% of 100 or maybe 1,500 other people that day, right? So these shorts are just like continually, I mean, it's like, oh, and by the way, you're mixed in there. Whereas on YouTube, you actually have their undivided attention for extended periods of time. So this is why YouTube and short form content work together, is that you want your shorts content found in these feeds, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Facebook. And in that, you want to let people know you have longer form content. Okay, this is what we call the funnel. And you're funneling them in there. Now, that's number one. Now, let me talk about attention spans. It's not attention spans necessarily that's our problem. Let me prove it to you right now. Because I don't, maybe you can relate. I don't have time to watch a movie, but I do have time to binge watch 6 episodes of Breaking Bad. There, I said it. Okay, or The Office. Hey, I know you Office listeners. Look, I will get stuck on Peacock's, like, they do these fan favorites, and so it's like only Dwight for 35 minutes. And it's like, how am I still watching Dwight? I came in here busy, right? So it's not that we have shorter attention spans. It's that we have more to choose from. Yeah. And you've got to put yourself out there in a way that your target viewer wants to choose you. Versus, here's what brands do. They put themselves out there in the way senior leadership wants to see themselves on social media. And so it's getting past that break point where you're like, and we just did this with a company, large organization and faith-based organization, right? So you can imagine the added boundaries that might have to be crossed here, right? What we're trying to do is launch content that is unlike anything that they've ever done. And all the senior management was all kind of like holding hands, like, we can't publish this. We had 6-7 videos, like, we can't publish it. CEO gets involved and is like, I want published content. Let's see how it does. I love it. I'm like, let's go. The first thing out of the gates, 4,000 views in 8 hours.
Wow.
It was short content. And they really were just afraid to launch it. Not because it was bad, it was different. And it opened up our audience tremendously. And so there's these just great opportunities to do YouTube the right way. And really, you don't have to wait weeks and months for results. If you do something right the first time, YouTube will reward you.
I love it. I want to do a little pull back the curtain here and go down an avenue that is an interesting story that our listeners will love here. As I understand it, you have a personal triumph story of a real challenging thing that you had personally. Can you share with the listeners what that was? What happened to you, and how important it has been to pretty much where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer. And this was a final diagnosis of many, not only cancer diagnoses, but a series of other diagnoses that came from the chemotherapy and radiation. But I was able to overcome that through, really important work and a really important focus on my purpose. And I'm thrilled to announce that I got my first cancer-free test result just 3 months ago. And so I'm alive and I'm so just grateful, and I'm excited to share that message. So what happened was I was diagnosed with cancer back in 2015, and they removed a 12 centimeter tumor from my chest. And I did everything they told me to do. I did chemotherapy 4 days a week for a few months. It was around a year by the time it was all done. Aggressive, hardcore chemotherapy, crying in the shower, like, why, God, like that. Like, the chemotherapy is this horrible experience. I did radiation as well, and I let them beam the power of the sun, moon, and stars right into my chest. And then when they sent me away, they didn't tell me I was better, or they didn't tell me I was done. like with cancer, they just told me I was done with the treatment, and I got to ring a bell, and they gave me a little paper certificate, like you did it, and then they sent me home. So from that point on, I had to deal with the downfall from that, right? Like this vein collapse and all these health problems. I was in and out of the hospital for 4.5 years. While trying to run my business and while growing and while speaking on stages. In fact, I was speaking on a stage and I had a bald head, right? I had bald head from chemo, but I still had my facial hair. And I left that, praise the Lord. Like I did this whole speech and I had to dash off to the airport right afterwards. And as soon as I got on my plane, I got out my book and my eyebrow fell off on my book right as yes, true story. So, and I just thought how glad I was that it fell off on the plane and not while I was there. So I did everything they told me to do. 5 years later, cancer comes back, stage 4 terminal. And that's when I switched to natural therapy. And that's when I was like, I'm going to do things a different way. I went on a plant-based diet. I engaged in fasting. I went to various integrative. And I document this on my Instagram channel at Cancer Fighter Owen. And I show you the therapies I did. And some of them I liked more than others. Like, I don't think that did much for me. But to this day, I vlog about it and I talk about it. And I want people to know that cancer's almost inevitable. And that's unfortunate, right? Yeah. But cancer is very reversible, especially like even in late stage, right? I don't think that success comes from chemotherapy. I think that there are other therapies that are much better. And that's my message to people.
Excellent. And by the way, so glad you're better. So glad you're here. And bring in the A game and everything. I'll let you take a drink of water while I go through this. I love asking guests this question. It was one of the original signature questions here on Thrive Loud, but this should be an interesting take. We all have days when we're killing it and we're crushing it, and which you've been doing for a long time in your career with Accelerate Us Media and with all your YouTube videos and the story that you just shared with us here, which means on most days you're thriving. But we all have those days where we're a little off our game and not quite kicking on all cylinders, and you had many of them. Yeah. When you have trouble thriving, Owen Video, what practice do you seek, or maybe which individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
Yeah, that's really good. What a great question. And I do consider myself thriving. There's a term in cancer called cancer thriver, and it was designed to counter the idea of a cancer survivor, right? A cancer survivor is like beaten and bruised, like, oh my gosh, I barely made it. Cancer thrivers are just different. And so I do feel like I'm thriving, and I'm so grateful for that. But, I do have days. And just recently, a good friend of ours in the space, and she's very well known in the marketing circles that we're in. And she was battling cancer, and she was battling cancer out loud, and she didn't make it. She didn't die of cancer. She died of something else, and that's unfortunate, but it's still heartbreaking. And so that really just hit me in the face, man. And really just kind of more so than usual, you got to put on a happy face, go to work, right? Because I consult clients and we love what we do, right? And I do let my clients know, hey, I just want you to know there's a rain cloud over me today, but we're gonna crush through it. But I really needed time to cool out, and I have days like this where maybe even though my health is good, maybe I'm just a little burned out on work and everything. So, and I do have health. I have the same health problems people my age have. Right? I got out of bed the other day and broke a hammy. I don't know what happened. I'm not exactly sure. I looked behind me, right? I hear someone say dad, and I look behind me and it's oh, my neck, so I get that stuff, but then that freaks me out, right? So it's oh my gosh, is it worse than, So anyway, to answer your question is two big things. Number one is God loves me and my body heals. Those are my big two things. God loves me, my body heals. Those are things I believe. I believe that the God of the universe actually knows me, likes me, wants good things for me, and that I should just trust in that, right? Number one. And then number two, that my body's going to get better. Whatever I feel right now is going to pass. And this is depression. This is anxiety. Guys, I'm anxious, man. I feel my best when I'm doing stuff, when I'm talking to people and I'm in the moment versus in my own head. I get anxious, right? But I come back to those two things, and here's what that forces me to do. It forces me to breathe, right? Okay, my body heals. God loves me, right? And I do have a set of affirmations that I'll read through, but it's pausing, breathing. And I have various places that I go. I have a sauna that I go to. I'll go to my sauna fully clothed. If it's like, I just need
goodness.
Right? I have a hyperbaric chamber, you know, like right here in my house. Let me see. Oops, I don't want to show it to you right now, but
there we go. That was the YouTube experts. Listeners, viewers need to go watch that clip right there. This is how you operate the camera. This is what really happens.
You saw it here first, folks, right? So I have a hyperbaric chamber I go into where I'll just breathe. And I do have my routines, and I do think I think that an important part of thriving is taking that time to reset, and that gives you the energy, the strength you need to
love it
to thrive.
Let's do the admin part of the show. Owen, share with us all the places people could find you, all your channels. We will put it on the show notes, but it always gets more engagement when they hear it from you.
Yeah, follow me everywhere at Owen Video, and I get on my list, man. Like, talk to us, right? Get on my list, be a part of our community. Go to owenvideo.com/video. Grab my guide. There's a lot of great YouTube content in there, but I want you to be a part of the community, right? We talk about YouTube. We're sharing great videos, and if you just want to be a part of a business community of people that are talking about cool things that are happening online, you know, AI and different even features that are coming out, new softwares. It's a great place to be. So that's where I'm at.
Love it. Owen, we've been having fun since the very beginning, but I want to navigate down Fun Street with you, our little speakeasy Fun Street pub crawl, as we like to call it. If you could, share with the listeners what you shared with me as one of your all-time favorite movies.
Oh, Shawshank Redemption. That's when you ask me the favorite movie. That's the gut. Like, I could come up with more like that. Well, but gut reaction. There you go.
And I'm going to guess it's because that movie is about hope.
You know, look, that movie was shot by Roger Deakins, who has done the greatest cinematography. I think some of the greatest movies. Works with Spielberg a lot. Like he's worked at a lot of Tim Robbins films. You'll see him doing the cinematography. And I think that the prison sequence there's no drones then, right? It's helicopters. So like helicopter shot with this sequence of men walking all through the prison yard with the music, and then the Shawshank Redemption makes you feel your feelings. And I'll tell you, it's like, so yes, it's the hope, but it's the package the hope came in too, like the darkness, right? And I think that's been a theme throughout a lot of my life. Love it.
We're going to do the speed round here as we go from pub to pub to pub to crawl to crawl to crawl to, we don't need alcohol, but we're just going to take a shot of gumption or a little bit of nerve here. And what Owen's going to do is he's going to answer the first thing that comes to your mind in the speed round here. Are you ready? Of course he is.
Oh my gosh, I hope. I'm so long-winded though. Like, I'm trying. Okay.
Okay, of late, a song that you love to listen to, or maybe one that's your jam.
Oh, the best song out right now is Casket by Indie Tribe. It's an incredible song. It is hip hop, and it's like hip hop the way it should be. So I love it.
All right. A favorite food that's not a dessert.
Favorite food that's not a dessert is going to be Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts. I'll eat them day, night, like constantly.
I like it. Do you like them in the air fryer? They're really good in the air fryer.
That's how I eat them, man. Like, that's it right there. Like, oh yeah.
My son has an issue with the air fryer because he goes, it's just blowing hot air on it. That's all it is. He goes, it's just a convection of some sort. It's not really a fryer.
You know, a little cayenne pepper though, like really it's good? Like air fryer, do your thing, bro. It's I don't know how you work, you know, but do your thing, air fryer, you know.
A favorite dessert?
Favorite dessert. Oh my gosh. Okay. I eat a lot of fruit for dessert, so that's where I'm going to go. Like a favorite dessert would probably be like pineapple, like chilled pineapple with maybe a little bit of a coconut cream. Amazing.
We mentioned the part before where you'd rather watch a binge of a series of a show. Is there a certain streaming show that's like your favorite one right now, or the one that's like your go-to?
Yeah, MasterChef. Like, I'm just into MasterChef, and I love Gordon Ramsay. I'm not even necessarily like a foodie. I am I love TV, and I think Gordon Ramsay is like like the Lucille Ball of television. Like restaurants and televisions with sets and multiple different angles, and he even has a kids show. And I like who he is as a person, right? Like I just believe that's, like, I say it's good TV, right? A little outdated term, but like it speaks to my people. It's like, that's good TV. Like when my client does a great video, I'm like, that's good TV, man. Like that's why it did well, right? So I love MasterChef for those reasons.
An activity you wish you did more of?
Weightlifting.
Okay. An activity
How
you wish you...
honest is that?
I'm actually
right?
impressed that you must love lifting, because lifting that's your thing.
It's hard for me to do. I love to run, right? So I run constantly. And then when you couple that with a plant-based diet, you get a very thin person, right? So like, I enjoy like lifting and seeing definition on my body, and I look better in shirts and all these different things, right? Like I just did like a 3-day fast. So right now, especially, I'm feeling like my muscles are like use me. But then it's like, I got to go to the gym. I mean, I got a couple weights here, but it's like,
you wish you did it more. This is perfect.
Yeah.
I like it. An activity you wish you did less of?
Worrying.
A new activity to you, something you recently tried that you like so much that you want to tell everybody else to try it.
Oh man, what a great question. Gardening. Oh. Absolutely. Just got into gardening and making things grow. And I love it. I'm long-winded. I told you. I'm going to tell you this whole story about it, but it's speed round. Go. What's next?
If I could snap my fingers and Owen video could be anywhere in the world, where is he?
Costa Rica.
It's really nice. Both coasts are nice. I've checked out both of them. I agree with you on this one.
Nice.
Last question to bring it home. As someone who's in the video space and likes to do this, I bet you've had bigger video dreams or whatnot. Is there some wish list video project that's in the back of your mind, or something that you want to produce or put together that's different from the stuff you normally do? You can hint to it if it's something you're working on. I just want to.
Yeah, no, I'd love to write a sitcom, and it's like I have ideas floating around in my head. I'm also connected to people that make sitcoms, and it's like I know the workload, and it's like I'm just not there yet. But like when we are, like I've got so many ideas for family friendly, like the good, like sitcoms everybody can watch together. Like they should be funny, they should be edgy, but you should be able to watch them with your kids. You know, it's like, oh, like they got to leave the room while we watch the show, whatever. So like I've got a ton of ideas, and like it like that. Some of that keeps me up at night.
Owen video, everybody's got to check it out. We will put all the show notes and the links. Hey man, so great to have you on. So much fun to connect with you. I've already checked out a bunch of your videos leading up to this. I think you're going to get a lot more views after just this episode. So thanks for being here.
I love it. I appreciate you.
You got it. To all our friends and listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
Head of the class, head of the pack, heavenly rap, better to master than be mastered by petty cash. Anything you attach to's a heavy bag. Better if it's tattooed, it's really that. I could never go the ways of the masses. I couldn't be a slave to the lashes. Rather die than a life full of average. Got a King James and it came with a casket.
Whole lot of body bags in here right now. Here's a bouquet of flowers. Drop it on the casket. Saying farewells. Kissing goodbye.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.